place, so I don't know what it's going to end up at. I also just the heavens just opened up there, so we're getting a rattling. So even move it. I need to go grab some connectors because I don't have wires long enough at the moment for the stuff coming off the carriage. So the X and I've got XZ, no.
Oops.
XZ and U, oops, sorry. Yeah, I've got XZ and then the carriage lockout. So,
Wow.
I'll be right back. I just realized I don't have the connectors out here with me.
Yeah, just on a random side note, I didn't even think about this, but I made the offset from the edges of the bed 150, 100 and Y, which would be 200 if you did it reverse, and 50 in X. So I just happened to move my carriage to 250, and it's like right above the camera.
Oh, okay.
So that's kind of cool. But okay,
Yeah.
I'll let you go do your thing.
No, I just need to run up the other room and grab the box of connectors. I'm also thinking that I might set my. I'm tempted, depending on how I'm working the machine, is to set my XY as max points instead of min points. So that's just a consideration. So I'll be right back.
Yep.
What do you want? Yep, and I just shut down all the printers. I didn't start another job on all the printers that way. I'm expecting to lose power here.
Why are you expecting to lose power?
We're in a severe thunderstorm.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, I remember you saying that now.
So the wiper assembly, I went ahead and printed one. And it goes together really nicely, actually. However, what I don't have is the spur gear that I need. It's not in the print. I was able to reverse engineer the wheel, pull it off of the drawing because it wasn't in the...
Sorry. Sorry, when you said reverse engineer the wheel, my brain went somewhere else.
Oh, sorry. And the drawings were missing some descriptors. So, or the Thingiverse thing was missing some descriptors, but the design is pretty elegant. It does need a spring, a coil, not a coil spring, but you know, the 2-arm spring. I'm not describing it well. Yeah, you know the little springs that like keep doors open and closed and stuff.
No, I think I understand.
So that drops around the shaft and holds the arm that wants to return the arm to the stowed position. So it's under spring tension when it's lifted, right? So that's the intent. And it's got a little, it'll have just a little bit of wiggle as it's, you know, as the brush would come back over spring tension. But positionability should be really, really good. Repeatability should be really good. And it does have maybe, I'm guesstimating on a Z movement, like 15 millimeters. 15 millimeters of extra Z. So once it's fully extended, it can raise another 15 millimeters, which is pretty much at least the distance between a normal nozzle and a volcano.
Oh, that makes sense why they would have that then.
But it's easily modifiable. The thing that it gets me is that the exported step files you can't actually do anything with. For whatever reason, he exported a step assembly, but for whatever reason, I couldn't convert them. It is in SolidWorks 2020, which if Josh has got 2020, then no, because if Josh has got if Josh has got 2020, SolidWorks 2020, then he could probably convert them to a step file that I could use. But yeah, it came together like surprisingly easily. I mean, maybe not surprisingly easily, but it came together really nicely.
Good design then.
Yeah. So the thing we're missing really is like the spring assembly.
Aha! Camera on this. Sorry.
Oh, you got camera. Okay, good.
Yeah, I'm just excited.
So the fix worked.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can actually get onto the live stream.
That does look slick.
And the modified, you know, to modify it for it to swing a camera over there, God, I need to not, this thing keeps trying to launch on YouTube, and the YouTube app is not useful because on the iPad I can't I can't silence it.
Gotcha.
The other thing that happens though is it pauses really, really easily. Hey, I see a picture. Is it just me, or is it like out of focus or something?
Oh, it's a little out of focus. I was working on that.
Are you a ways up?
Yeah, I didn't know what my Z offset needed to be since it's...
Oh, to get a good picture?
Yeah, so I'm only off by a couple millimeters, if that looks like,
Yeah.
and that might have something to do with where Josh says the edge of the bed really is.
Okay. Yeah. So
So
my thoughts are is like I can finish this out. I can hand wind a spring, or I can find a spring that will do the job pretty easily to make that swing arm work. But if I can get these into a SolidWorks file that I can work with without completely having to reinvent it, and I could reinvent it if I needed to, um, the arm could just have a camera mount with an LED ring on it and everything, right? And so, and the arm could be made to be longer, right? So it could swing farther out over the bed, but it could be a very clearly known position as where it goes. So you drop the bed, swing the arm out, and then you can bump it up and down by a little bit, right?
I'm off by 0.6 millimeters in Y.
Is what your expected value is.
Well, I wasn't even intending on doing this exactly, like verifying the center point of the cam or the of, of the sensor, but like the fact that I just randomly printed it out, put everything together, threw it there, and told it to go to a position, and it actually is, as an unintended consequence, it's actually in the right position.
Well, that's pretty good. So that's actually really nice. And so did you bump? Did you jog it a little bit?
Yeah, I'm tapping
Oh, I'm
X.
seeing the jog.
Yeah, I'm moving X now. X is a little further off. There we go.
And
So
the picture is actually moving up and down, so it's kind of funny.
right, that's because my orientation of my camera.
That's
But
now I'm seeing it's like you're dead nuts on.
yeah, that's 1.6 mil, or wait a minute, 1.4 millimeters in X and 0.6 millimeters in Y is the difference between the two.
Very cool. So I am trying to determine, and this is just me. So do I want to? I'm at the Yelp to. Do I want to use just have like a six position connector, right? Because I've got six position connectors. Put a six position connector up there and be able to plug all the three sensors coming off the carriage in one connector.
I'm sorry, say that one more time. What were we talking about?
So I've got the three sensors coming off of the. I have three sensors coming off or three switches.
Oh, for the brush mechanism?
No, for the carriage. For the carriage. I'm actually wiring my machine.
Oh, wait.
So,
Why is there three?
because I have my carriage lockup sensor.
Oh, right.
So my carriage plate. Remember,
Yep.
So I have a carriage lockup. So I've got three connectors, and if I put them in, I was thinking I might just put them together into I don't know how I managed.
Like
I don't
a
know how I
six.
get the.
You could probably just use an Ethernet cable.
I could. You mean just wire them into an Ethernet socket and just use a little. Yeah, but I gotta break it out at the other end, right?
Right. I mean, you can still break it out with connectors.
Oh, here's what I was gonna use. I guess I'll take a picture. Oh, that wouldn't be good. That's on black. Black connector on a black background, really hard to see.
Okay. So.
Okay.
Yeah, you could do that. So what are you thinking? Just running 3 cables into one connector?
Yeah, I was going to run all three of those cables into the one connector. And you see the one with the ear tabs on it? I could actually make a bracket, and then the connector would be the wiring that's coming off goes into the part with the tab, and then the bracket just sits on the top edge here, right?
Okay.
And it just snaps right in.
Hey, go for it.
Yeah, okay. That's kind of what I was thinking. I just need wiring. I just need to get some wires, and it really doesn't matter. I've been using white, so I may as well continue to use white. My sensor wires, I've been using white. I use blue and yellow for part cooling fans, and red and black for cooling fans, or for hot end cooling fans. I know, it's kind of silly. And for switches and end stops, they just get white. I'm almost out of white for my 22 gauge. Well, huh? I don't have enough. Dang it! I don't have nearly enough. I guess it really doesn't matter, does it?
Suppose not.
What's that?
I said I suppose not.
Blah, 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 blah. And I've got this wire that I bought from McMaster Car that I paid way too much for. But it's the same gauge wire, but it's got much thinner insulation, and it's not silicone. Yeah, that's working really nice. So once you get your focus in place, you're gonna just jump back and run a 10B.
Yeah, I was just trying to get some initial part offsets into the tool offset so that it can get make sure the nozzles are over the camera for alignment purposes.
Yeah.
Because I never actually put offsets in there before for it, for X and Y on the first nozzle.
Okay. Well, that was useful. I mean, if I suppose I could just go grab a 10 like 28 gauge, which is probably fine, but I don't like working with wire that small because I always get it wrong. You know.
Yeah. Oh, no, I just need to make sure my nozzles are cleaned off.
Huh. What's that?
So I need to make sure my nozzles are cleaned off.
Oh, yeah, you can do that. Good evening.
Hello.
How are you tonight?
Doing good. How about you?
It'd be better if I hadn't just run out of wire.
You ran out of wire?
Well, I ran out of the color wire that I wanted.
Huh? I imagine spools of wire at your house.
Well, okay, so I ran out of the one color of the one size and the type of wire that I really wanted. So, you know, and I only buy 50-foot spools, so it's one of those, oh, look, I ran out of this one color of one wire.
I'm just kidding.
And it's just annoying more than anything else, right?
I know what you mean.
So I'm making up a new color mix on the fly. I mean, it's all going to end up inside of the sheet anyway, so it really doesn't matter that much. And these are all signal wires, so it doesn't really, as long as I get everything in the same place, it'll be good. So, how's everybody's weekend going? That's very red.
Yeah. That's the other thing. I kind of want to swap out the filament because I'm wondering if there's not just some weird stuff going on with this particular brand of filament. Before I start debugging too hard, I'd like to maybe choose a brand I'm more familiar with.
Okay. So
Oh, lovely. What's that?
That I now have a pile of wires that are pre-cut to a length that is sufficient and yet not overly wasteful of length. All right, that's going to be fun. Ooh, that's like, are my eyes bad, or is that just completely out of focus?
Oh, it's out of focus. I lowered the bed so I could clean the nozzle off. I'm still waiting for it to get up to a high enough temperature where the filament will come off.
Okay. So I am having fun with connector types. 2 and 3 more sensors.
For what?
Oh, I'm wiring up my carriage, the carriage sensor suite, or the carriage. So I have my X, I have my X and my Z and my carriage lockup. So I don't know if you saw some of the stuff that I was doing with a carriage lockup sensor. So I customized a front carriage plate so that I am the front carriage plate is in a position to, when properly locked up, when properly locked up, it's going to close a circuit or act as a switch. Because I'm basically using the pins in series. So when the ball's in place, when all 3 balls are locked up, pulled up tight, you get a closed switch or closed circuit. And so I'm just going to treat that as an end stop. Or I'm just going to
detect if a tool is mounted.
To detect if a tool is mounted properly, more than anything else. So if your tool is locked, and it may not be useful, but we'll find out. So if your tool is locked up, you will get a an input on that, or it'll close, right?
That's better.
Yeah.
How much?
Yeah, I've been looking at there's a couple other projects that are doing multi-tool printers as well. So I've been looking at how they do the carriage head, and it's always like, oh yeah, we're compatible with the E3D stuff, but the approaches are pretty radically different across the board.
Yeah, I like the nice thing about the Jubilee is that because we're printing that carriage plate, right? Because the carriage plate itself is non-conductive, the Maxwell the dowel pins that are in there work pretty well as a switch,
Yeah, that makes sense.
and so one of the things I'm also tempted to do, and this is just because this is falling into the because I can category, is that once I get my multi-material printing set up and working properly, um, one of the things I'd like to do with it um, is redesign and print my front plate again with conductive filament in place of the wires. So the idea is that instead of the way I've got it, which is a pair of some 6 little tiny screws that drive it from the back of the plate and down into the pins, and then you've got a piece of wire that's set in a groove. I just print a conductive path so that the pins are seated into a conductive into a section of conductive filament that forms the circuit internal to the plate, and it's just there. And then you have 2 pickoff points, right, where you can put a little screw into with a ring lug, with a terminal, right? So you're just picking up that circuit right there, and that whole front plate is just printed as is got a circuit built into it. Now, I guess I don't know what the conductivity of the material is. I don't know how conductive it is. I don't know if it's going to have such a high resistance that when the circuit closes, it's going to cause a problem, right? But if it doesn't, if it's enough, if it's got enough resistance that you're not going to get a high current through it, but it's low enough resistance that it's going to detect.
I think the biggest issue from my perspective is right at the moment the carriage touches the tool, that circuit will close long before you even start to rotate the pin that keeps it in place.
Um, Once you drive it in, right? The point isn't to detect what it is. What it's really supposed to be, and what I'm envisioning it to do, is while you're printing, if that circuit opens, you do an immediate pause on the print,
Okay.
right? If that switch opens while you're printing, if
Why
you're
would
not,
it open though?
you're dropping it through.
I get that, right? But isn't the tool supposed to be locked in place?
He's saying if you have something like something goes mechanically wrong, so you don't have a good lockup or it comes unlocked, this will prevent disaster.
Got it.
That's the point, at least. Um, so yeah, I mean, the point is that if the tool comes undone, right? Um, that um, you'll know. So the other thing is the idea is that we'll set up a check routine on startup to let the duet know, let your system know um, that a tool is in place on startup. Now, is that a big deal? We were discussing some possibilities, that, if a tool is in place, the other thing is not only in startup, but what it does is if a tool is in place, you disable the homing. So
Yeah.
you can't home while a tool is locked up
Hmm. It's
because
interesting.
it's a safety feature. I mean, that's really where I'm coming from on that. And maybe I'm overthinking it. Maybe I'm not. I don't know. It could be. It could be. I could just be overdoing it.
So it's interesting because the company I work for, we make medical robots for pharmacy, and so some of our containers for drugs. Um, so you have robots that can contain up to some of the big ones, 450 containers,
Wow.
and they can automatically dispense per patient, right?
Right.
Make it back. You need 6 pills, and they just make it back with the 6 pills you need, with your
It,
name printed on it.
oh wow.
Um,
Like the pill packs, right?
yeah, same system,
Okay.
same kind of system, right?
Yeah.
So
Sorry.
when you
Yeah.
fill those canisters, sorry,
Go ahead.
when you fill those canisters with pills, there's a special workstation you use, and so you count, right, as an automated counter. It says, okay, you've put 200 pills in this canister, and then it writes to an EEPROM inside the canister and tells it this canister now contains this drug with this expiration date, etc. So when you put that canister into the robot automatically knows what is in it and what's being loaded. And then,
It reads the EEPROM on the canister.
yep,
Okay.
yeah, and it's something really small. Like I think that connector, I don't know exactly what is in it, but it's like no more than 8 pins max. So I was kind of wondering, right? Like if you could get like a small I2C, what is it called? The Can't think of it. The one wire kind of serial bus thing,
Oh yeah. No, no. I know exactly what you're talking about.
right? But I have tags that you can read like that provide a unique ID. So if you could have that connector read out a tag like that, not only would you know, yes, there's a tool connected, but you'd know which tool is connected.
Yeah. So one of the things I was also looking at is I do a lot of RFID stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like one of my side gigs is escape room, right?
Okay.
And so it would be very easy to put an NFC antenna into that front plate,
Right.
and then you drop the reader inside the carriage because it's just a PN532 processor, right, or controller. Um,
Mm-hmm.
532 with the antenna in the front carriage plate, and then you just put a sticker on the tool. You put a MyFair chip on
Yeah.
it, right? And those are cheap, right? And they have at minimum a one K of data space. I mean that's a lot of data space for tool data, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you could store things like you can because you can it's not just a read, it's a read write.
Right.
So Jubilee could write things to that tool, and it could write things like um, essentially the tool could carry the tool configuration, like what size nozzle it is, what are the E steps for the stepper, what is the tool position, what is heck you could even do things like run hours on it, right? Not that run hours mean anything, but um,
Yeah, we should have cycle counts.
um,
Well,
well
given the
that
plate
would
we use to tighten the tool as a consumable, it could have cycle counts.
yeah. I mean, assuming that the tool, you could even do cycle. You're right. You could do cycle count on the lock plate because the lock plate is essentially a consumable, or at least you could keep track of that particular lock plate, right? And like I said, it may be overkill, but the idea here is that this is a new tool, this is a new development kind of thing,
Hmm.
and the idea is that we're learning from the process, and the more data we have during the development phase, um, it could be really it could be functional. It could be useful information that
Well, so like one of the things, right? You've seen Kevin Marr's um, air pump, right?
yep.
So which he's built it so that whatever tool plugs in gets the air automatically in, and he can turn it on and off, right? So I'm looking at that and going like, well, right, that chip could say this tool wants air in it, this flow, right? And you can automatically reconfigure airflow on or off or some percentage based on what the tool wants.
And the other thing I was thinking along those same lines is that say you're in a lab environment or you're in a working environment, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you have a rack of tools and multiple Jubilees.
Yep.
And if you need to swap out a tool, right, you could just you swap the tool in, and then Jubilee learns the first time it picks up the tool, right? Because the tool posts aren't going to change, or at least they shouldn't. The design should put the tool pickups at exactly the same points, right?
Right.
Once you got your dock.
Yeah, so right now, sorry to interrupt, but TAMV seems to be just bouncing back and forth between like 2 pixels.
Okay.
It's not settling. It's just going and reversing direction, reversing direction, reversing direction. I don't know what it's.
I was supposed to calculate the average, whichever is closest, but my guess is neither of them is closest.
And Daniel's not on again.
Well, you can check and see if he's online and hit him up and.
I did. I just said he's not on right now.
Oh, okay.
At least he's invisible if he is on.
Have you looked at the crazy crater cube thing?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Here, let me find the link quickly. So this is another design of a Core XY print, but
Just
it's
from the little
borrowing.
drawing, it looks like a rail core or something.
Well, it's under development. It's kind of alpha stage right now, but it's borrowing definitely from Jubilee. But there's also some really good ideas in there, like using the USB cables to connect the tool head, so you don't need the dumb board. Is pretty neat.
Yeah.
You
Well, I
can
mean, I'm using
carry enough current in a USB cable.
USB cable's only good for about. I mean, a USB cable is really only good for about 10 watts, maybe 15. You're not going to do a 40-watt heater on that. You're not going to do a stepper motor on it.
The newest cables do 36 or 45 watt.
Oh, USB-C.
Yeah,
Okay, that might be.
yeah,
That
because
might.
they do 12 volts, and I think actually more than that. I think it's 3.6 amps or something like that.
Okay, that's new.
So that's what they're using, and they just get off the shelf breakout boards, which run like, yeah, I don't know, sub-dollar, less than
They're
$1 a piece.
they're dumb cheap.
Yeah. So you just buy a bag of 100 from China, and right, they use two per tool head because they separate the extruder, well, not the well, the extruder stepper from is one cable, and hot end is the other cable.
Okay.
The thing with that is, which I hope they understand, is that these cables have a built-in resistor that
Yep.
you measure, and that tells you what the cable is rated for.
Yep.
If you don't measure it right or you get the wrong cable, you will set your house on fire.
Yep.
So, but as long as they point to proper source for cables and people buy those cables, because I highly doubt their boards are testing the resistance,
Nope.
should be okay.
Yep, and it's going to be real easy to get the wrong cable.
So if you go on that page and you go to their tool changer concept page,
Yeah.
the second image on there is their central fan source. So the idea is that they have one fan on the tool changer, and that fan has a duct that connects to the actual tool that's mounted. So there's
That's
no fan.
something I've actually been planning to do for a long time.
Yeah, we've been tinkering with that concept as well.
I just haven't got around to designing a duct for it yet. But
Well,
are you looking at the live stream right now? By any chance?
No, I'm not.
I have it open.
No, I'm a... Here. Can you see this?
I see you walking towards the.
I see the multicolors.
I see the fan you just dropped on there.
Yeah, look at what I have. Do you see the fan on the bed I just put on there?
Yeah.
That's what
The stream is like 30 seconds delayed or something.
Right, I understand. It's just the minimum YouTube allows. But my plan is to change the design for these two plates right here so that this hose can connect in right here, and it'll probably like come back like this or something. I haven't figured that part out. And then do a duct system down to the nozzle.
Right.
And ideally it would be a CPAP fan, but those are difficult to get a hold of.
They're really hard to get a hold of. My order is currently on back. I'm gonna check on them, and they were supposed to ship on the 16th, and they've been delayed. So I wanted to give them another week. So tomorrow I got to follow up with Banggood, and if they don't ship, I'll cancel the order because they're a week past the ship date, and they haven't given me an update except it's out of stock. It's like, well, when is it going to ship? If it's not going to ship now, I'll go ahead and cancel it. I'll find another source.
So if you take a look at the Crazy Crater Cube one and see how they run the duct, so instead of having their fan, having that hose of yours come in, and the way they connect it to the tool is actually really neat.
Okay, what do they use?
It's just, I can't explain it. It's just right an opening, but it's not like an entire plug like what Kevin did with it.
Oh, okay. I mean, you could just use a silicone, like essentially like how it's a silicone.
Can you link me to what you're talking about? I don't feel like going through their whole page to find it.
Yeah, hold on. So if you go to this page, the second link I just gave, the top shows you the side panel of the tool where you see the air duct, and then the second one shows how they run the fan.
At the bottom there. So it sits in the back, and then it just blows through.
Well, that's not going to work for us.
Yeah, because it's not.
Not to mention, my fan is a whole lot bigger than their fan.
No, I'm right. So my take was take that fan out, you hose like you were showing, right? But the way that it goes underneath and then connects into the tool, still to me would work.
Well, it doesn't work because that fan is sitting right where the locking mechanism is for the tool.
How do they lock? What are they using to lock up? Is it a magnet?
Yeah, they just use a.
They're just using a
neodymium magnet.
But no, I have a plan. I think it's a fairly decent plan. I just need to sit down and work on it. It's one of those things that you got to prioritize, and it's not on my priority list at the moment.
Yep.
In fact, I don't even want to be working on the Jubilee right now. I want to do something else, but I've been trying to get this tool changer, or the new, testing up a new TAM-V, but so far it doesn't seem to be reliable. Not like the older version was, unfortunately. Let's see what time is it.
The other thing on that page, if you go down, is there nozzle measurement?
Yeah, I saw that. It's using the nozzle as a touch point. So you got to have a conductive nozzle.
That's
It's not
actually
just motor.
No, Daniel is working on a software package that parallels TAMV but uses the Z offset. And actually, I've already kind of tested this in theory on my printer. If I remove the build tack sheet and just use the raw aluminum, I can then touch the nozzle to the aluminum bed since it's grounded, and then I have some extra I/O on my ribbon cable I'm not using right now, and so I can attach that to the Hemera, and I've already tested the conductivity from the Hemera nozzle to the stepper motor, so I should be able to basically just plug that right in and use the I forget what the acronym is for the tool chain or the height measuring system, but
The mesh stuff?
I'm sorry?
Not mesh, right?
Oh, no, he's just talking about measuring the Z offset.
Yeah, so the Z offset's on the tool. So the nozzle X is got a solid conductive path from the tip of the nozzle to the frame of the Hemera.
So if you had a conductive plate at a known height. I mean, I know the bed is
I don't need a conductive plate. The whole bed is conductive.
Right. I meant if you just had a hole in your build tack.
Well, I guess you could do that. I mean, if you're looking, you could just probably use the corners.
Yeah.
I would have to test it out, but I'm not 100% sure if the Z probe can get to the corner or not. I'd have to test it.
Yeah, the problem also is corners, if you use connectivity, that's great, but you don't take the build tack into account, so now you have to have yet another parameter to say what else is.
No. The build tack has nothing to do with it. As long as you hit the same, you need to hit the same spot with all the nozzles and the Z probe.
Okay, you're just looking for delta information, not.
Exactly. That's your the offsets for your tool. The build tack is leveled to a combination of tramming and mesh pad leveling.
Yeah.
So, yeah. It should all be pretty straightforward, really.
I'm making up these connectors, but I'm not running them through the nylon just yet. Because...
Running them through the nylon? The sheeting.
Yeah, I mean, what I can do is I can pull because I don't have length and things like that, and I haven't figured out exactly how yet. But what I really want to do at this point is get things in place so I can start doing the configurations. And then I can figure out what my exact wire lengths are that I need and whatnot, and then I'll build a wire harness that matches what I need. Because we don't really have a wire harness design, right?
You don't have what?
We don't have an overall wire harness design. We have some, and because everybody's wiring it a little differently.
Yeah.
Yours is beautiful. Yours is absolutely beautiful. Don't get me wrong.
But I'm assuming that most humans are not going to want to spend the time that I spent on it either.
Well, no, what you did is absolutely gorgeous. But you see what I'm doing too is I am I'm going to be I'm putting a 6-position connector, and I'm going to build a bracket for it
Mm-hmm.
that it fits into because it's got a panel mount, right? I'm using microfits or not just microfits. They're a JST model. But it's a 6-position panel mount plug. I've got them pictured in the live stream, right?
Mm.
So the lower one is going to go into a bracket that's mounted at the top rail next to the lock tool or the tool lock, right? And that's going to run the 6 connectors. I've got the 6 leads that are coming off of the carriage. And because all I had was 1/8 inch nylon, I don't have, and I've ordered it, but it's going to be like the end of May before it comes in. I mean, it might show up sooner, but odds are it probably won't. But I've ordered some half inch and 3/4 inch because, like I said, all I had is I have 1/8 inch and 1 inch, which is way too much, right?
Indeed.
So
Oh,
So
shoot.
it's going to take me a little bit to really dress all these wires and all these wire bundles. But mostly I want to get them hooked up, get the configurations in place, so I can get some motion running and get some motion going in this. And I'm using tool boards, not not a 3HC. So which is kind of a bummer because I got tool boards, and then I go and figure out I need one more stepper driver. So if I use that camera positioning tool, right, it's got a stepper on it. And a 3HC is probably overkill. How many steppers does it provide? 3?
The 3HC, yes, 3.
How much does a 3HC cost?
I think it was like about 110.
Yeah, that's expensive as shit for what I need it for. I need essentially one stepper driver.
Yes, that is an issue.
But if I get another tool board, it's like $40, right?
Yeah.
So I could just get a tool board and I just mount a tool board on it. I'm good to go, and I'm done. So.
Excuse me, $120.
Yeah, so 3 tool boards are 3 tool boards, right? But if I'm
Okay.
really,
I was very wrong when I was talking on the forum. I told somebody that, oh no, I guess I wasn't very wrong. Yeah, one 3HC is as similar in cost as 2 tool boards plus a distribution board.
yeah, but you don't really need a distribution board because you can daisy chain the tool boards.
Well, I think
right?
this is for power distribution, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, the tool board, okay, so the distribution board has got power on it, right? But you
Why
can
does
send
it?
Yeah.
Why does it have a CAN connector on here?
Because the tool boards are all CAN bus.
But there's no brain in the distribution board, is there?
No, what it is, it's literally a hub.
Well, it only has an in and an out CAN, or
It has
does?
an in, but there are CAN connector. There are 4 CAN connectors across the top.
Oh, is that what that is?
Yeah.
Okay. In that case, the tool boards must not have a standard CAN cable then, huh?
No, they use a smaller one. They use a small connection.
Yeah, so I guess you could probably do away with the tool distribution board, but I think it would make it a lot more complicated.
Yeah, so what you end up doing is you run your CAN.
And these are all fused at the board, which I don't know. I just looking at it, I think the tool distribution board should probably be used. But either way, two tool boards is going to run you 110, and the 3HC board is 120, so it's only $10 more.
How much is a tool board?
$55 basically.
And a distribution board?
$24.99. So without the distribution board, you're only $10 short of a 3HC.
For two tool boards.
For two tool boards.
Yeah, we were all hoping that it was going to be much less expensive.
Yeah, that's part of the reason why I just went all in on the 3HCs.
Yeah, I should probably,
Well, you already bought them, didn't you?
Yeah. What I was thinking is, so I was thinking of another The thing is, if I put a 3HC on here, right?
Mhm.
The 3HC is going to give me 3 more stepper controllers and whatnot, and fan controls and things like that. Although the 6HC is fan controls and whatnot. So for like enclosure or any kind of stepper, any kind of Jubilee specific activities, not tools, but the base machine. But we'll see where we go.
So
We'll see where we go with it.
it's $240 for two 3HC boards. And if you do 4 tool boards plus a tool distribution board, you actually come out at $15 more expensive than two 3HCs.
Yeah.
Of course, you kind of eat some of that cost back if you buy Luke's boards, which I think he upped the price to $10 or $12 a pop. So, however, that said, once you have all that system in place, let's say you want to add tools, 5 and 6, but they're sitting off the printer, and you want to grab one and put them in. It's only another $12 to get a dumb board, where it's another $54 to have a tool board.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely less expensive, and like I said, I've got a GTR sitting over there, and the GTR I could run, except I don't know if RepRap will run on it.
I wish the dumb boards were Luke could have made them a little bit cheaper. I hope he's at least making a little profit on them.
Well, I've got some dumb boards too, so I'm working on some other projects, so we'll see how things.
I'm sure probably 90% of the cost is the connectors.
I just sent a link in the channel. So it's a 1-wire EEPROM, 1 kilobit.
Okay.
Because it's 1 wire, it actually you use 2 wire. You have ground and
ground and the signal,
connection. Yeah. Right. So you could use the balls as individual pins.
You could absolutely do that.
You don't need a connector, and now you have kilobit storage.
Well, yeah, you'd use 2 sets, right? Yeah. And you may actually be able to even do it, even with no, you can't, because you got a loop on them. But yeah, there are ways to do it. There are ways to multiplex the switching.
Oh, it's just trying to keep the cost down. So this is $1.30 a piece if you buy single quantities. So that's dirt cheap, and right? You don't need a connector, you don't need an antenna. You save a lot of other stuff.
Yep. It really just depends on what data we need to, what data we're actually looking to collect for that.
Yeah, I can't imagine with 1 kilobit you can't store everything you'd want to store about a tool.
Oh yeah. I'm on, let go.
Right, you could even basically say, this is the filament I've loaded, and these are temperatures I need and whatnot. You can even store that in there, no problems.
Except filament changes pretty rapidly.
Yeah. It does, right? Every time you reload the filament, you'd have to set it up. But
Well,
then
it
the
doesn't.
power cycle or whatever.
Yeah, you set it up, but what happens is Jubilee just uses that as a storage location for like a configuration tool, right?
Right.
It just becomes. It could be even a secondary storage location. It could be, it keeps it writes it to the tool, and this is just data management, right?
Yep.
So you end up writing it to the tool, and why are you writing it to the tool? Well, it's just there in case you need to load it, in case the local storage on the Duet is either corrupted or that is the reference that is loaded whenever a new tool, the first time a tool is loaded, right? And then it just confirms that tool is there. So, yes, I did take notice.
Yeah, the only time that would come in is the scenario you were talking about, right, where you have multiple machines and you just move the heads around. Of course, that assumes that you move the filament along with the head.
Yep. All right, that's one.
I don't know if it was frustration one night or what, but I was using my 3D mouse, and I'm like, why is everything upside down and backwards? And so I went in and inverted the channels, and then eventually I realized it was my stupidity was I had the mouse flipped around.
Oh yeah, that happens all the time.
Oh, what an idiot.
Really? How far did that bounce? It bounced that far. Okay. Dropping everything, right? Okay, which one's which? This? Oh, I know what that is. Okay. Trying to make sure my connectors are, I'm putting the connectors in the right set. So that's a blue and green. That's in the first one.
Alright, this is dumb. Let's try this again.
Fun times, fun times. Making sure all the wires clear. And that I don't run it into the. So I found that I've managed to make it so that I don't have quite enough clearance for a particular thing. So I have to. I'm really glad tie wraps are cheap. Okay. Did I get disconnected?
Nope.
Okay. Which is entirely possible at this point.
Yeah, how is the storm over there?
It's mostly eased off. We'll see how it goes here in the next hour or so. Try to make sure these things stay clear of both. Well, they don't necessarily have to stay even clear of the belts at this point, because this is where the belts are the back carried. So. But I need to put them off to the side so that they don't get caught by the lock. And unfortunately, that's kind of where they are. And not only caught by the lock, but not just caught by the lock, but caught by the, yeah, I just need to make sure they don't get caught by the lock. put all my bags of zip ties? Oh, they're there. Huh. Tiny bags of tiny zip ties. It's amazing how easily a black bag of zip ties gets lost on a black granite slab.
I've lost tools that were right in front of me. Hell, I lost one that was sitting on my leg the other day. So don't feel bad.
I looked down and I couldn't spot it. Because they all just disappeared. That might actually work. Kind of feel like I'm making some progress. Sort of. Why are we like that? Yeah, I need to make some progress on the garage this week too. But I'm on vacation, so I don't have to go to work.
Yeah, speaking of progress on things, they may have lifted enough of the, what the hell? Enough of the laws in Michigan, or policy, or whatever you want to call it at the moment, that will allow me to get my shed built.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
No other restrictions?
Well, you couldn't get concrete, and I need a concrete slab. I got my permit for the shed literally like days before the lockdown. Or no, actually, I applied for it days before the lockdown, but then I received it just after the lockdown, in the mail, like the actual thing that says go ahead and get her done.
Yeah. Well, that's good. Yeah, I think I'm going to be able to pick up my laser on Saturday. I'll find out tomorrow if the truck and the helpers are available. So that'll be good. So which means that if I find out tomorrow, I can really start digging into making the space making the space available. And so I have to do some pretty significant work in my garage, rearranging and whatnot.
Yeah, well, that's part of the reason why I'm building this shed is so that I can start rearranging my entire life.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got so many things that I want to do, but I lack the storage to be able to do most of it, so.
Okay. I was a bit of a slug today. Apparently I was really, now granted, I haven't really had a good night's sleep in more than a week. So I turned off my alarm and made sure that my CPAP tank was completely full. And I just slept until I woke up.
Very nice.
It was about 1:30. So
I wish I could have done that.
now granted, I got to sleep around 5:30. Pretty common, which is unfortunate.
Oh, that's weird.
Are you on? I gotta jump back over and see what you're doing.
I'm just doing some fusion work, but it just, oh. Instead of creating a history, it's like putting, I don't know, I must have started this in some way that prevented me from making a history.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, so I started it off of Josh's file for the background, and if you don't, if you're, sometimes you have to do something special in order to get the history to actually start recording what you're doing.
Oh, okay. That is for, what is that for?
This is just a so I can kind of lay out my wires on the desk instead of doing it on the back of the printer. It'll be a lot easier.
Oh,
Like,
is that for a pair of dumb boards and
yes.
your HC?
Yeah. And just put some holes in it to kind of make it print easier. Damn it, I missed an edge. I feel like this would be the perfect thing to mill out of a piece of wood.
You have a mill, right?
I do not. It's on my wish list.
So you have a wish list too.
Oh yes. I've almost bought a little CNC mill about 5 times while working on the Jubilee, but then I'm like, no.
You keep giving me grief for giving into my base desires.
Yeah, but there's a big difference though. I have desires, I didn't act upon them. Oh, I'm definitely swapping out to the Delrin nuts as soon as I can. The squeaking is driving me crazy. Oh, I kind of need to slice it before I actually print it.
You say that. I think you're probably overstating the problem.
Indeed. Hell, before I can slice it, I need to export it. What the hell's wrong with me today?
I don't know. What is wrong with you today?
No idea. Technically, this is upside down. Not that it probably matters. I gotta look into that conditional G-code stuff.
Yeah.
This might be the most use of the bed I've used yet. Probably, once I'm satisfied first layer's going down, I'm probably gonna call it a night.
Nor was.
I don't know if I'd be able to get away with it or not, but I'm half tempted to If I can get the shed going, I might try to take a vacation myself.
That's good.
How long does it take cement to cure? Do you know off the top of your head?
Temperature, humidity.
Well, the temperature is probably going to be figure in the 60s on average. I don't know.
Okay.
Ah, crap. I knew I should have done a mesh level first.
Oh, bad initial level. Bad initial layer.
Yeah, let's see if it recovers on this path. Nope. Okay. Just look, one tiny corner of this thing is not going to work. Well, not tiny, but small corner. What gets me, what I never really understand, is why I never seem to have a problem with the brim.
Yeah.
Or not the brim, but the whatever outline thing. Words are failing me. Yet when it goes in to do the actual print, then there's a problem. Like I've seen this happen a lot on this build pack sheet.
Weird. Do you ever clean it? A little bit of alcohol and a rag?
Wiping it off right now, actually.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
But I used water earlier. Maybe that's a bad idea. I don't know, but
I typically use alcohol just from the standpoint of I'm more likely to get the
alcohol is difficult to get a hold of right now, so I don't want to use what I have for silly things.
Oh, all right.
You know what I mean?
I suppose.
Well, it's difficult to get isopropyl alcohol, so using it on my bed all the time.
I'm not denying that it's difficult to get isopropyl alcohol. I just I happen to have like 5 or 6 gallons of it.
Hoarder.
What's that?
I was kidding. I said hoarder.
Oh no, I have a ribbon printer.
I was just kidding.
So you just buy a 5-gallon jug.
I probably spent more on my what isopropyl alcohol I have than your 5-gallon jug.
Yeah, probably. I mean, I buy it, but like once in a blue moon too.
I thought I had a thing of it, at least like a 16-ounce thing, but no idea. Couldn't find it, so I had to spend excessive amount of money on like a 16-ounce thing of it.
Well, they're catching up. Let's put it this way. It's not that we don't. I mean, we don't have a shortage.
How much was your 5-gallon jug of isopropyl alcohol?
Oh, I don't remember. It was like 2 years ago when I bought it. I've got a photon and a form 1.
Maybe harmful if absorbed through the skin. Don't they use isopropyl alcohol to clean wounds?
but that's like maybe harmful, and we're also talking like extensible. The problem with it is it dries out. It pulls the moisture out of the skin, so it causes problems for that. As far as the other absorption issues is, alcohol is a toxin. That's why we imbibe it. For those who do.
Oh, there's a 55-gallon drum of isopropyl alcohol on Amazon.
Yeah, there's also a 55-gallon drum of lube.
It has a 3-star review. Or no, 1-star review.
Probably because it never actually was delivered.
It just has a 1-star review with no comment.
Those are the best kind of reviews.
Seems way too expensive for a 55-gallon drum, though.
Amazon pricing algorithms are very, sometimes.
Just for funsies. How much of this, or how much would this be per gallon? $34 a gallon. That seems high.
Like I said, their pricing algorithms tend to get a little bit carried away.
Yeah, I still only have unless I wanted to go to eBay, it doesn't look like there's much in the way of isopropyl alcohol available. Still.
Most use Windex. Or acetone. Mostly you just need to get something that's going to get the alcohol, or get the
Acetone won't hurt the build pack in any way?
Oh, I don't know about that. Check the BuildTech website. They give you some guidance on how to clean it. So I should be getting my build plate heater tomorrow.
You getting what tomorrow?
I ordered a new heater for my build plate. So I've got a Canovo heater coming in tomorrow.
Nice.
So we'll see how it goes. So I got the official Canovo heater, and the heater also has built installed 150 speed thermostat switch built in. So Canovo has a heater, that that they manufacture, and they'll put 150 feet thermostat, bimetallic thermostat in it. So if it gets to 150 feet, it shuts off.
Right.
Or it won't exceed 150 feet, let's put it that way, which is fine.
Yeah, they don't.
We were going with it anyway, right? And that way, I'm not. And then Josh is still talking about putting a thermal cutoff into the design. It's actually, I think it's showing up in the next build or the next release. But it's a thermal cutoff with a built-in not a built-in, but a thermal cutoff with a connector that is attached to the bed. So if it blows, you can unplug it and plug in a new one. The intent. All right. So Eric has provided an example of what a good wiring layout looks like. I'm about to provide an example of what a bad wiring layout looks like. Bad in the sense that I haven't gotten as far. I'm just doing the initial layout so I can build a wiring harness. Wow, is that a mess? But okay. Oh, that's terrible. That's okay. I say it's terrible, but I have such an example. I have such an example to follow.
Well, you saw it mid-build. It doesn't look good until you're done.
Yeah.
Until then, it looks like a disaster.
Well, I'm not sheathing everything as I go. I'm not labeling everything as I go because I don't want to put the labels on it yet because labels are not.
I didn't do that either.
What's that?
I said I didn't do that either. Labeling everything like right from the get-go because I'd do like temporary like just use some tape and then I put on the official labels after I cut the wires to length. Damn it. Keep forgetting to I don't know if people want to put together their electronics the same way as.
There's my work in progress.
That looks slightly different than my build.
Like I said, it's a work in progress.
I'm just teasing.
It's a terrible work in progress, but it's a work in progress. So there's going to be a bracket that hangs off that attaches to the back rail that this connector snaps into. So I've got a parametric panel tool in SolidWorks. So I just knock a hole out of the piece or out of the model, and it just gets screwed down. It's a 2 mil thick. It's not real thick, but it's thick enough that you can mount this thing in. So across the top, stepper-wise, I have from the back, the left stepper, the tool stepper in the middle, and then the right stepper.
I don't
and
know
then across the bottom is front left, center back, front right for the Z's. And then as you go down the side and the sensors, so it's X, Y, Z, U, and then carriage lockup. And then I picked off the 12 volts and ran it around to the bed input power. So the power's not changing and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah, you copied my little thing I did with the 12 volts.
Well, there's no reason not to, right? I mean,
yeah.
I don't need to run AC there. Or DC. I don't need to run 24 volts into that. 12 volts is fine.
Right.
So, and it's just being used to cycle the. I mean, worst case, if I needed to, I just run another wires over to it.
No, I'm
switching the 24 volts to switch the SSR. But I've got some ideas, some better ideas now. Right now, all of my stepper motor cables are the exact same length, except for the U. I've got some initial tension. They're not super tight, they're not super loose, but they're initially. And I probably need. I kind of want to take the. I left the paper on because I was intending to just take the side panel on temporarily. But I'll probably just pop it off, tear the paper off of it, and put it back on. I just wanted to get it in place so I could have a power outlet. And yes, I've already put power. I've got. I've already tested the power supply. I'm at 24.2 volts, which is fine because we get a little bit of sag when it starts getting loaded.
No, I've never tested the power supply under full load, but I know when I get the echoes back from the auto tuning, it's always like 24.1 or 24.2 volts. So
yeah. So I'm trying to figure out what I want to do next. So it's like I don't know if I'm ready to turn it on yet. I don't have a bed on it, so I'm certainly not going to be doing any kind of trim. I mean, I could put the bed on. Turns out that I don't have one particular set of parts that I need for the bed. But since I'm getting my bed stuff tomorrow, I should have it. I'll assemble the bed with the magnets and whatnot. Kind of cautious about the idea of starting my power-up sequencing tonight because there's I don't even know if I've got the steppers wired right. I followed your on the stepper, or I copied your pictures for the steppers.
Where did you get the bed plates from?
I got mine from CBCNC, and I've got the bed plate or the power supply or I've got the bed heater from CBCNC, but there's no thermistor built into the middle of it, so there's no sensor initially on it, and there's no sensor built in. CBCNC was planning on putting a thermistor lug on the edge of the bed, which is fine. I'll use that because it's got an aluminum pocket that gets screwed onto the bed, and then the thermistor plugs into sockets into that. So that's a good point, and that works. But I really wanted something that I'm going to be able to monitor my bed temperatures with that are actually in the bed. So I am currently doing a little cleanup at the moment. That is a box of miscellaneous fans. And when I say miscellaneous fans, I've got like 15 24-volt fans in here.
Oh, I didn't tell you I cut my son's hair today because I got tired of waiting for the barber shops to open up, and he was blind. It was literally, his hair was like, okay, we really need to go to the barber shop, and we can't.
Just drop a bowl over his head, cut around the edges, you'll be fine. Kids were doing it for hundreds of years. No reason a parent shouldn't be cutting their kid's hair anyway. Yes, Levi, you are a fuzzy boy. You're a big fuzzy boy. Who's my big fuzzy? You're a big fuzzy boy. I still have to start cleaning a little bit. He's like, can I help? Levi is a cat. He is a cat who is about 17 pounds. And he's a long-haired orange cat. People sometimes say you can't judge a book by its cover, but you can pretty much guarantee that orange cats are going to be really friendly, and pretty
like
much
lasagna?
What's that? And likes lasagna, yes.
All right, gentlemen. I'm going to go to bed. Have a good night.
All right, good night. You are
Yeah,
welcome.
you too.
Hey, I got a spool of Capricorn tube. Throw that in there for a Bowden tube. I have extra carriages, I have extra lock plates, I have extra bits here and there and everywhere. All right, I need to step away for just a minute. I will be right back. stepper holes backwards? They run backwards?
You get the stepper holes backwards?
Right.
Oh, the poles. Yeah, they just run backwards, and you can just reverse it in the firmware.
Okay. Well, I matched the colors.
There is one caveat to that, though. If you mix the wires of the poles between the other poles, that doesn't go well.
No. The pairs. I mean, I'm assuming that I looked at the.
As long as the pairs are wired to pairs, then you're fine.
Yeah. Because I was looking at the. Looking at the picture of the main board. It's like B1, B2, A1, A2.
Yeah, I spent a ton of time going through and trying to figure out exactly how I should get that all wired up. And you know what happened in the end? It was still backwards.
Okay.
So it is what it is. I wasted a ton of time on it. So just color match or whatever and call it a day.
So I matched the colors on the wires to what you have. Here's what I did not do though, and I'm going to do that now. Well, okay, I'm going to spot check. Let me rephrase that. So I'm going to check one of each of the motor types. Does that make sense? We've got two different types of motors on here, right?
By the way, the LDO motors, I believe, run the correct direction color code wise. But the stepper online motors do not.
Well, I'm not running stepper online motors.
Well,
so,
just throwing that out there.
Yeah, so the LDO motors, I have blue, red, green, black.
On the duet board, yeah, it goes blue, red, green, black.
Well, I mean, that's the cable I've got. It goes blue, red, green, black. And blue and red are a pair, and green and black are a pair.
Yes. So something was definitely swapped, because I have the stepper online motors for my Z-axis, so.
You know what? I could very easily fix this. Is there a data sheet for the LDO motors?
I don't know, I didn't bother looking. I don't think I bothered looking, at least. I don't remember. But I'm sure you can find it on there.
Yeah, I'm looking. Bontech Electronics.
But like I said, if you match the color code then like I said, I had the blue, red, green, black on mine as well. That's what you did, and that color code to the LDO motor made it go the right direction when I hooked it up because it had to unreverse it.
Okay. Let's see. Which I'm looking at these. All right, there we go. There's the data sheet. And these are the 4260 2004 Mac RC Red Beads, right?
That sounded right, but I'd have to actually look it up to make sure.
We'll just log in real quick, and then we'll see what I ordered.
Do you have any specific questions, though? Because I was going to go to bed.
Oh, no. Go on to bed. I'm just going to spot check all my motors and just make sure that I've got pairs set up.
Alrighty.
All right, have a good night.
Thank you. You too.
All right, take care.